Text is getting slower.
The translation quality not only extends to the text, but its method of delivery.
I guess there's like different densities of stuff going on, like carrying over weird timings.
I guess.
Rhyme was everywhere. Note, wizards are not heroes. Wizards emerge from times of crime, but not to prevent it. The Marquis of Limberry. Guard duty. Nice. Gotta stand behind the walls. Architecture does all the work. So it begins. Right, they don't let you look at the scenario before deciding who you're putting into it. Not that I think it particularly matters, since I should have a very short list of people, perhaps exactly enough people to fill one team. Or,
I think
no,
you might have
only
one
5.
extra. Yeah.
Base for 5. Draw you. Bring a second chemist. Rasmo, Baskirk, Gelhard, Elliot, Dinah, Clara, Demi. Yeah, that's the team. I'll be checking them for astrological compatibility before throwing them into battle.
It's entirely possible to play through the game completely ignoring that bullshit and still do fine, but it will come up sometimes. And just be like, why isn't this working? Oh. Compatible units do more damage to each other and heal more damage to each other, and have a higher chance of hitting with buff spells and debuff spells.
Don't worry, there will be no survivors. I'm, of course, laden with a guest. Zach, Dave, Merlin, McNorton, and Mo. The legendary thief, Mo. Pt.2 was a Beowulf? Boov? Bolv?
Beowulf? Something like that. Beowulf?
Wolf? A bunch of spoiled kids who get to spend their lives training in the fighting arts.
Hey, hello, I feel like a dumpster fire, but I heard that there's little money going around.
No money at all. Look at all these tortured thieves around here.
Oh, these poor tortured thieves. Or perhaps it is deliberate torture. They bring upon themselves some sort of tantric art to refine their criminal skills. Attain the highest levels of thievery.
Rasmo.
Alright, you are incapable of anything. You are entirely unlearned in the squiring arts. In time, this will change. Okay? Chemists just stand around and look helpful.
Honestly, it need not change. Squires that aren't Rasmo are pretty useless.
Level quite helpfully designed to just kind of funnel me into one of two paths. Of course, the warrior Merlin.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense to me.
Alright, give him a bashing. Excellent. Modest fall damage. Did as much as the attack, but the attack was kinda low rolling. Give him the old alchemic shiv. Fellow's in dire need of an infusion of the law. Chemical justice. Alchemically pure.
These people have far too many chemicals in their bodies. Please, assist them in removing the chemicals from their bodies.
Cannot escape. The disease is inside you. But trying to help. Also, base attack accuracy pretty high in this, at least here at the start. 95
you're actually getting,
on a front
you are
side.
getting a bonus from height.
High ground.
Yep.
Perhaps from dampness, if my opponent is not particularly aquatic.
I believe that's the case as well.
Only for deep water. There's 2 depths of water. I don't think depth 1 water does anything except maybe make lightning hurt you more.
It
I
also,
know rain makes lightning hurt you more.
It also makes you move less, if I remember right.
Oh,
Projectile
yeah,
items. That's helpful. I don't like that you can't rotate the camera until you choose something that puts your cursor onto the map. That's a little annoying. Especially if maps are going to very often wantonly have things you can't see from every angle.
I don't think there had been a Tactics Ogre at this point.
There had.
I think this
It
is
just
the-
hadn't been released in English. The first one was for the SNES, and then later ported to the PSX.
Alright, fair enough.
Yeah, you know what? You're fine. The best medicine is to slay the enemy before they can put more holes in you. For now, take cover. But you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. We have systems in place for this. Dave is so rude.
Dave is a,
I must
is a
destroy
huge.
him.
Dave is a huge boy. It's true. Crush Dave beneath your hands and feet.
Show Dave justice. Alright, that was the analog stick given a bit of a last-minute wiggle. As can happen. I may switch over to the D-pad at some point on this physical controller.
The wheel stick.
And I would guess that number is how long you have to revive them before they are actually dead, in the case of friendlies.
Yes.
The number above their head?
Yes.
Yes,
Number over
that
the
is.
person.
Letting Actually waiting out for enemies to die on a map is actually kind of a smart idea sometimes, because there are two things that it can leave behind, or sometimes nothing at all. It can sometimes leave behind an item, which is usually something that they had equipped, or if they knew a skill that your character did not, there's a chance that they will leave behind a crystal. And when you walk into the crystal, you can choose to either, I believe, get healed, or you can choose to learn that skill immediately.
Specifically, they can leave crystals even if they know no skills that...
I can absorb Dave's knowledge of rocks,
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, pretty
consume
much.
his heart, and learn to throw stones.
I think people do always leave one or the other. I could be wrong, though, but either way, crystals are a good way to catch people up on jobs they have not spent much time in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for now, there's killing to do. Dispense the justice. I don't think the scenario is going to give me time to harvest them. Oh, there's treasure. Mo has disintegrated. Ah, at last. Clothes. Where have they been all my life? Wait, am I allowed to... Nope, not allowed to stand on the corpse. Understandable. Alright, now to let it just read him his rights, and... or just do that. Rasmo, they're dead. They can't answer questions. Ask yourself or God. Yeah, strong ogre influence still in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Where did these common tortured thieves get mithril? If you don't understand, press select for help message. So-called help message.
I think we're gonna have to show off some of the tutorial in this game, because it is fantastically badly translated. It's great.
Ah, bar. Good day, bar owner.
Bar will eventually have features. It doesn't right now, though, I don't think. Other than rumors. There are always rumors.
And speaking of the rumors, you're
The
probably going to
rumors
want
that
to...
King Omdoria is King Omdolia.
Mhm. You're going to want to read these because they occasionally trigger things when you actually do read them.
Barkeep, did you really need that dramatic pause in discussing history? Barkeep, please. I didn't need the entire saga of our people. Or neighboring peoples.
Well, it's kind of important. They talk about this thing a lot, and they don't really go into it in the actual game.
Just a guy walks into a bar and several hours later is hearing about the situations with rise of Emperor Tiberius and how this is distinct from the reign of Emperor Nero.
I got a degree in history, okay?
Went to the Holy City, got versed in all the arts and histories and metaphysics, and then just come home and run a bar.
I mean, the war, the 100 Years' War didn't actually last 100 years. It lasted for longer than that. It doesn't have to be exact, come on.
Those like Giga Wars are like people amalgamating a bunch of other wars together under one common cause.
If it's a whole bunch of, smaller wars that take place over a large period of time between two countries, it's not that far-fetched to say that it's all just one
pretexted on
war.
vaguely the same reason all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
TG Sid.
TG Sid, oh yeah.
Yeah, that stands for Thunder God. It was probably kanji, and yeah. 2 characters in Japanese, many, many, many more in English.
Many
So,
English
TG.
characters yet to go.
In the retranslation of this game, they did just... Hook 10 is Order of the Northern Sky, and Non 10 is Order of the Southern Sky.
Yes, Hokuto and Naruto.
Mm-hmm. Hokuten, Shinken.
Balbanes, no. Don't name your fighting style.
You are already dead.
I asked for rumors, not lectures, barkeep. The brink of bankruptcy, all one word. Our language has many fine and nuanced terms for financial status.
Was on the brink of bankruptcy.
I don't think I ever read this rumor. This is amazing.
High unemployment and uncertainty in district. Finally! Barmaid, what do you think of all this? Can you believe this? Also, look at that guy in the foreground. Look at the one other customer who's in here today. What's his story? That guy is miserable. Tell me your troubles, fellow bar patron. Yeah, some of these equipment sprites are from Tactics. Okay. Right. Slightly modified. I could dual wield at great penalty to the thing in my own hand, because I presume he's terrible at dual wield.
Rasmo can dual wield immediately?
It's letting me put a thing in the other hand. I would guess that that's maybe going
It's
to
just going
unequip,
to take your other thing out of your other hand.
Just gonna switch.
Yeah, that's the case, yeah. It doesn't matter which hand you equip a weapon or shield in, it just happens.
Yeah, this is a Final Fantasy game, so dual wielding is attached to ninja like it usually is.
Monk can also do it, but only with their fists.
Yes, they can dual wield their hands. They're not limited to one hand at a time. And yeah, pretty common starting to. Oh, I just get to have you. Good day.
Yeah, these guys are your initial team. They're totally randomized, and they could be good or terrible.
Rasmo, Delita, and the rest.
Really, the only things here that are going to be different between random guys is their Brave and Faith, and their sign.
Yeah, the Brave and Faith
Brave-
is actually the most important thing of them all, of those.
77. 68, 61.
Basically, you want to generally have like average faith or very high faith for spellcasters, but not too high. If your faith is too high,
You go to join the church.
they can actually, yeah, they just leave. They leave your party. It's great.
Rude.
If your brave is too low, they just leave as well. But getting
because they're terrified.
We can only rename creatures. I'm not allowed to just tell my soldiers who they are.
you can buy a soldier.
If I buy a soldier, I can decide their identity, but not the ones I've already recruited.
Every time I play this game,
What
I
happened?
always buy a
What?
a
Okay.
person
All right,
named-
there's this like foreground layer effect is being a bit weird with the codec, I suppose.
Fair enough.
Oh dear. Yeah, I've seen this happen before on some emulators.
I've actually seen this happen on a normal PlayStation 1, though, as well. This screen right here is a little bit buggy. Like, on the disc or not. Every single time I play this game, I always hire a dude named Albert, and I make him my #1 guy.
Okay, so Squire, the way jobs work in this game is that leveling up in some jobs unlocks further jobs. Squire unlocks the physical jobs, Chemist unlocks the magical ones. Some of the later jobs have more complex requirements than that, but it basically goes that way. You have
And a chemist needs to individually learn their qualifications for each item.
Yes. Yeah, items are hard. And Throw Item is a support ability that Chemist gets innately.
Mhm.
So if you want someone who's not a Chemist to throw items at someone instead of just using them on them right next to each other, you gotta equip that.
Hmm.
Wish is actually a really good thing for Rasmo to start with. Pretty much the only thing he could have had better is Accumulate.
Accumulate and
Raise
Yell
speed by
are-
yelling.
Accumulate and Yell are both the most important skills for Rasmo's Squire class, pretty much. I mean, up until you get Scream.
So
but
do I
that's-
decide which of these I want to buy on my own, or do they have a prescribed order?
You decide. You can buy them in whatever the hell order you want.
All right.
Like,
You will be
I
saving
tend
up
to,
for loudness.
be a lunatic and buy flare really early on a black mage and not buy like any other spells. You can do weird things because of that.
You're qualified to just leave. You just become a knight right away. Falling behind, Basskirk. Or if that's the case, it's not at a... Or do you already have knight and archer level? I don't... Intuiting what's going on.
Every class starts at level 1. They don't start at level 0.
Alright, so it is that they have qualified to do that, and becoming that is on a different menu.
Yeah, change classes on a different menu. You want to press a different button to get to most of your menus. I don't remember which button it is, but whatever button brings up that job list is not the button you want to be pressing to get at your equipment and your class change. Okay, cool.
Mithril knife equivalent to broadsword.
Oh man, Archer. Archer is miserable. That's
Yeah,
a class.
Charge is kind of really bad.
That is a class with a single gimmick, and the gimmick is the worst class gimmick in the entire game. Unfortunately, you have to hop into Archer to get to a lot of other classes.
Yeah, it's the base fast fighter class, so it unlocks Thief and feeds into Ninja and all
Sir
those
Gelhard.
things. I could find a chart. I know I have one somewhere.
The random names in this game can be really good. You're likely to encounter one junk at some point in your game.
Yeah, it's not quite Disgaea tier, but it's really good.
Knights may not wear clothes.
No, but they can wear robes.
Clothes are for peasants.
Mm-hmm. Armor increases health mainly, and like the hats usually have a secondary bonus attached to them.
Yeah, armor is actually where you get most of your HP and MP from in this game. So
Okay, this is our Warren report, or Alizlam. Yeah,
yeah, the
Alizlam,
historian.
yeah.
He talked to you in the opening.
Yeah, he was
This is our
retranslated
friendly
out
device.
as Arazlam, if I remember right. This is also the character who is narrating the entirety of, what's it called? Vagrant Story as well.
Tell me about yourself. Alizlam, JD.
So the game actually does track your birthday, and the game has an in-game, what do you call it? In-game calendar. You can totally just walk around for 1,000,000 years until Rasmo is like 60 years old.
The truth of the 400th year. One of those assholes who thinks the entire calendar system's a lie. That's a real conspiracy theory. There are people who believe that, like, a bunch of kings and the Pope conspired to make sure that they would live in the year 1000 by just skipping 400 years and pretending things happened in that time.
Wow.
Let's do this via fitting room. Well, I guess Sir Gelhard fights in the nude.
I don't remember Ninja being ultra busted in Tactics 2.
Yeah, I think that's
mean
enough fiddling around for now.
TA2 or
Yes, Tactics Advanced 2.
okay. I don't know. I barely played any of that game, and I never finished the first Advance. The Advanced Tactics games made me sad.
Tactics Advanced 1 is a plenty good game.
Yeah, but it doesn't have the same style of story as this one. Not even close.
That's not a huge deal, I think.
Also, in Tactics Ogre, Ninja's kind of mediocre. It's strong early on, but doesn't scale all that well into the endgame.
Yeah, that might be true here too.
It is not.
You mean gameplay or story? I'm confused now. Or ninja?
Ninja is strong throughout the entirety of...
Oh, yeah, ninja. Yes, ninja's very strong.
The Ninja narrative.
I got you.
Tell me, Zelbag, what news of the front? Dice Dark. A lot of pro names here.
The Bale family has very strange nomenclature. Almost the only normal name here.
In the retranslation, Balbanes was turned to Barbaneth. So he was Barbaneth Beowulf. Zalbag got an extra A on bag. And Dysadarg,
Zalbag.
I don't think changed. Yeah, Zalbag. I don't think Dysadarg changed.
The retranslation just made all the weird names even weirder instead of actually making them sensible.
Where is
It
Rasmo when
introduced-
he's most needed? I'm right outside. I was just getting a drink. What's everybody yelling about?
It introduced a lot of THs where there used to be S's.
It's gonna be a lot of flashback and forward, isn't there?
Not as much as you think. And most of it is in this chapter, which is entirely a flashback, technically.
A good boy who I managed to sneak into the academy. Do not betray or be betrayed by him at any future point.
Delita is very clearly a trustworthy man who you can, trust with your life.
Shower with all my finest equipment.